This is not the Church of Emmanuel, Christ of Latter-day Saints, of Joseph Smith. This is the Church of Jesus Christ.
So plain and precious. Finally, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of
Emmanuel.
Just as the arch crumbles if the keystone is removed, so does all the church fall with the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The enemies of the church understand this clearly.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. So I had a new person who's begun to email me asking questions, but then he's questioning now. He still is having difficulty accepting the fact that the Book of Mormon, which is the keystone of Mormonism, not a single Mormon denies that, but I don't think they fully grasp what it means, even though the church's manuals have taught us, because of President Benson's talk, that if we remove the Book of Mormon, we are no longer the church based on the Book of Mormon. We are another church, and thus fall. And this concept of using a different interpretation is completely foreign, because the prophets will not teach different interpretations to be wrong, even though we claim we're Christian but not Christian, Islam but not Islam, Buddhist but not Buddhist. I'm waiting for that one next. Hindu but not Hindu, Zoroastrian but not Zoroastrian, Greek but not Greek, Roman but not Roman, Babylonian but not Babylonian, Persian but not Persian, which is Zoroastrianism. But they won't talk about pre-Babylonian captivity Jews but not pre-Babylonian captivity Jews, because we are, which was Egyptian. They purposely leave these keystone details out. And so it's difficult to understand in Nephi's dream when he talks about the great and abominable church taking away the plain and precious truths of the scriptures, that is also a method of taking away plain and precious truths, is by putting in another interpretation. And maybe I gotta use some other outside of religion example for you. The Constitution of the United States of America. MAGA has their interpretation of it and how it needs to be followed and adhered to. And so they need to take away everybody's rights. No abortions, no DACA, no LGBTQIAPO+. Everybody needs to be married in order to have sex. So sex ed cannot be taught in the school systems. All TV, internet, computer games must be destroyed and done away with, because it's the idol worship of porn. Utah has finally succeeded in getting cell phones away from kids. Dear God, it's been that kind of a fight all my generations. When I was a kid watching TV, I was being bombarded with adults telling me that TV was harmful to me. And then the music as well, even though they had records in the beginning, and then as I got older, cassette tapes emerged. But I'm still being told music is evil. Tipper Gore. And she's gonna get that twisted sister. Oops. That was humiliating for her. And then magazines. Well, they were harmful to me too. I remember the magazines that I saw as a kid down there in Southern California. Maybe I'll tell you one of these days. If I haven't in any of my thousands of videos for you. And then computer games emerged on floppy disk, and then arcade games. Those were all harmful to kids. And so over time, new technologies, DVDs, harmful. Internet, harmful. Everything's harmful. Get evangelicals out of this universe. Get them out of existence. Dear God. You cannot enforce your religious beliefs upon others and enforce it with a sword. That's what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has done to Utah. As children are now under the belief that, oh no, my cell phone is evil. I'm sorry, Mom, I can't call you to tell you that I'm going to be a little bit late because cell phones are evil. It's just, adults don't think when they're full of idolatry in their head. And so, yeah, the deep state dem version, it's all, oh, we've got to create new laws to protect every single individual group and identity that is created. And of course, both sides are wrong. The 14th Amendment, Section 1. All you have to do is be born in the United States of America or any of its territories or any of its military ships. So that, you know, it's not Kenya for the MAGA birther thing. And you're in. Fully guaranteed rights and protections. And so those of you who know about Joseph Smith and said, according to the myths, that the Constitution would hang by a thread and didn't bother to read through the Joseph Smith papers to find 19 July 1840, which is the original source document from which it came from, in which he said the Constitution will be on the brink of ruin. Well, oops, it fell. America has fallen. And you're still being played as to thinking that your side is, you know, fighting for freedom with your different interpretations. And this is what we're dealing with the Book of Mormon. There are lots of different interpretations Mormons are using. But the main core one is Christian interpretation. And Mormons are confused. But Jesus is there in the text. And you forget the passage of Nephi's vision in which he's told, a Bible, you have a Bible and you need no more Bible. What thank you the Jews for the Bible you've received. Oops. Bible's not Christian, and thus neither is the Book of Mormon. These are basic 101 lesson, duh. And the prophets have screwed you guys up so badly that you cannot understand what you read. You read over and then you skip it over. There's no footnote. Church doesn't want us to know about it. Okay, it's not essential to my eternal salvation. Then you get to chapter 13, all about the great and abominable church, and you don't bother to compare. Which is the great and abominable church in the world? Oh, is it Christianity? The interpretation that you're using on the Book of Mormon? Are you sure? It's just... Oh my God, you don't think. And so, it's very frustrating that Mormons cannot be like Stanford. He's studying. He learned from me. He believed it. He planted it. He's growing it. And he's studying with it. And he's making enlightened discoveries because of his studying of the scriptures. Going into the Book of Mormon, going into the Bible. He's learning. That's all I wanted for you. And instead, what do you do to me? You deny. And when you deny, you send a hate comment, a thumbs down, threaten me to deny the truth, deny that the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are in the learning of the Jews. And it just, you don't see that you are the Antichrist when you do that kind of stunt. And so Joseph Smith gave you a key to deciphering in the learning of the Jews to help you out. In section 103, this was given in February 24th, 1834. And so he now is being kind of bold to tell you how to interpret all of Scripture. And he's referring to the redemption of Zion that still has yet to come in the latter days. He says, "Behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power." He's not talking about his day. He's not building Zion in his day. That was 200 years ago. He knew, if you kept reading more of his words, that Zion is in the future. He was laying the foundation, getting the ground ready, getting the seeds planted. This was going to be a 200-year project. And so, he warns Mormons, in the future, if you pollute your inheritances, you will be thrown down. For the Lord will not spare Mormons if they pollute their inheritances. You can take that literally, you can take that spiritually. Both are involved. So if you use the wrong interpretation on the Book of Mormon, yeah, you've polluted your inheritance spiritually. You will be thrown down. If you take it literally and say, well, if we pollute the air, the ground, the water with poison, you'll be thrown down. And both are applicable. Both have happened. You're going to be thrown down. This is what your denialism is masking. You're thinking that we're righteous just like the Jerusalemites, pre-Babylonian captivity. They did nothing wrong. They're not going to be destroyed. You're a visionary man, Travis, and we're not going to believe you. We're going back to our home where all our gold and silver is. And we're going to be righteous just like the other righteous Jerusalemites. See what I did there? Yeah, that's the key that Joseph gave you. Verse 17. For ye, Mormons, in the future, are the children of Israel. Laman and Lemuel were the children of Israel. Lehi, children of Israel. All of the Bible, children of Israel. And so Joseph Smith is telling you here, for ye are the children of Israel. You now plug in Mormon for every time there's a child of Israel. Through all Scripture. But those are different time periods of literal history, Travis. Oh, Twisted Sister, bang my head. Oh, dear God. The Jews wrote prophecies. They didn't write literal histories. They were not recording the history of the people. They had those, but they started them off with prophecies, like the Chronicles and Kings. Eventually, they got to actual histories around the 700s. But prior to, those are all prophecies that they inserted in, not understanding that they weren't literal histories. And so Samuel with Eli, and Samuel with Saul, Samuel with David, Nathan with David, Nathan with Solomon, and then the split, all of that. Those are prophecies of the latter days. You're supposed to plug in Mormon for the children of Israel. And thus for the Book of Mormon, as the Jews, they're in Jerusalem, are the children of Israel. Yep, that's you, Mormons. That's not the pre-Babylonian captivity literal history Jews. That's how you got punked by this church. And so, 16, there's your Christ. And if you'd used this pattern to study your Book of Mormon, rather than get the right feeling for it, taking out manifest the truth, you would have caught on in 2nd Nephi chapter 3 verse 5 that Joseph Smith is to set things up for the future Christ, who would be a Mormon to the Mormons in prophecy. So 16, therefore I will raise up. Hey, there's the law of the Jews from Deuteronomy of their future Christ prophesied and revealed. Seed, egg, baby. Not exalted man who is only capable of producing spirit babies despite having a body of flesh and bone. Because this church took that literal too. But nope. And so, human, mortal, that's the prophecy, not Jesus. There is no Jesus. He is a prophecy of the Mormon. That's what this is saying. Verse 16, this is decoding it for you. Jesus is not Jesus of literal history. Jesus is the future Mormon. Because it says, unto my people. Jesus, who is not Jesus of literal history, is for the Mormons only. He is not for any other religion. He is not for any other people. He's only for the Mormons. Just like that Jesus character who says, I'm only here for the Jews. Oh, right, Jews, children of Israel, Mormon. But yes, there are those Jasmines out there by the well who want to learn. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, James. They did it. They're not even Mormon, and they did it. They're doing it right. And so this is how you're supposed to interpret everything. And so, yeah, Now go over your whole Book of Mormon. This is the year to study the Book of Mormon. Do it. I dare you. Are you scared? You scared to find out what you're going to find out? Oh no, I don't want to know. There's Antichrists and Ammonites and Amalekites. Oh my. And so, yeah, 3rd Nephi, chapter 11. Guess what? This is not literal history. It's not actually Jesus of literal history. And so pay attention. It came to pass there was a great multitude gathered together of the people of who? Well, people of Nephi, literally. But they're the children of Israel. And Joseph Smith said, Mormon. There are a great multitude gathered together of Mormons round about the temple which was in the land Bountiful. So no, it's not Bountiful where Irene and Nelson have their homes with the temple there. Don't go there. Bountiful is paradise. It is Zion. Supposed to go to Zion, remember? That's the whole 103 thing. You're supposed to come out of Babylon, the great and abominable church. Not just leave the church, ex-Mormons. Yeah, you too. You too have been conned into thinking, oh, hey, you found out that your feelings said the church isn't true. That's okay, I guess. But you miss what the church is planning to do to you too in 1 Nephi chapter 14. They've been digging a pit for all of you, both faithful and apostate Korahor, Antichrist, anti-Mormons who left because your feelings were hurt. There's a trap coming. So let's go to something else. Oh, this is fun, Travis. Go over all the scriptures for us. We'll stay around and listen for hours and days rather than going through all of your videos. And so, section 45 of the Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith even tells us in the beginning that Mormons are the Jews and that their future Christ is the Jesus guy. And yet, so let's redo this again. And so then shall the Christ, Lord, set his foot upon this mountain. So it's over in Jerusalem, right? You cannot merge literal history with prophecy. Prophecy means latter days. It's not the same land. The land of Jerusalem is being used as a symbolism for the land of the Mormons. Oh, this valley. So this valley shall have a mount. And your Christ, who will be a Mormon, will put his foot on that mount. Which mount? Is it the Mount of Olives? That's the cemetery across the street from the University of Utah, where my mom's parents are buried. My grandfather didn't want to be buried in Arlington, so he chose to be buried next to his wife. There on the Mount of Olives. So, no. It's Mount Olympus. Yeah. and it shall cleave in twain. Oh, earthquake! Earthquake, there's a bigger one coming. The Magna one wasn't big enough, even though it knocked the horn out of Moroni. But the Lord, your Christ, Mormon, man, mortal, human, born and raised just like you in the covenant, shall utter his voice, and all the ends of the earth shall hear it. Oh, he's going to have a YouTube channel. Huh. Yeah, that is kind of amazing, sort of like Captain Kirk's flip phone. And so, Mormons who have laughed at him will see their folly. Mormons who have mocked him shall experience calamity. Mormons who have scorned him shall be consumed. And Mormons who have watched to trap him in iniquity shall be hewn down and cast into the fire. Oops, kind of wish it could have deleted that comment, don't you? Oh, right, you've already been banned. You have cut yourself off from going to Zion. You chose not to be saved. And so the Mormons will look upon their Christ and say, what are these wounds in thy hands and thy feet? And on his YouTube video, he'll show you the wounds. And then he'll say, these are the wounds with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. He was not born and raised in Utah, but he was born and raised in the covenant. And he will be in Utah at the start of his ministry to Mormons to save them. I've gone over the dates. That's what Revelation means. Brigham Young called it astrology. And so, Mormons, this is why they're so stubborn, hard-hearted. It's because they're not snowflakes. They're not going to cry. But that's what they're supposed to do. So are you going to continue to harden your heart and say, I will not believe Travis, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to need Kleenex and a bowl of ice cream and a chick flick like Die Hard. And then Mormons will weep because of their iniquities. Mormons will lament because they persecuted their king. Yeah, Joseph of Egypt getting locked up in prison. Jesus getting locked up in prison. Notice a pattern. Even Samson locked up in prison. Pattern. Mormons are going to abuse, torture, and try to murder their Christ. That's the prophecies. I hope you can find them, because we've only got a few months left. And then bye-bye, utter destruction for Mormons.